Hi there guys and girls, Manthus here and welcome to a new video. Now today we're going to have a look at some of the profession changes that have just been released on the Shadowlands beta. There are actually quite some big dramatic changes to professions this week that could potentially change the complete way that you choose your professions going into Shadowlands. So let's take a quick look at some of the basic changes that have been made and then dive in a little bit more detail. Now, as you can see, we don't usually get this many profession changes on a weekly basis with the patches. So this is quite a big one. First thing I want to really touch on, we'll go through all of them in detail, but the first thing I want to touch on is that the crafter's marks have been changed for all of the crafting professions. Where previously we were able to use these these optional reagents to boost the item level of certain crafted gear. There was currently 5 in the game, starting with the novice, going 1, 2, 3 and 4. The 3rd and 4th have now been changed from a profession item to uncategorized. Now what does this mean? This basically means that they're not going to be in the game at launch. Crafters Mark 3 and Crafters Mark 4 are probably going to be what they're going to release in later patches, patch 9.1, patch 9.2, to give extra value to the professions going forward. What that also means is that the Crafters Mark all of the Crafters Marks have had the levels rebalanced. If we take a look in game quickly, we can see that the Crafters Mark, there's now only 3 that you can potentially learn for your profession. The Novice Crafter's Mark is basically the same as what it was before. It sets the item level to 50, the level requirement to 50, and it sets the item level to 87. This is a slight reduction to what it was previously. Base crafted gear was item level 100. Blizzard obviously think that's a little bit too powerful and have dropped it down to 87. If you've gone through the pre-patch, you'll probably be fully geared out in item level 100 gear anyway, so this is not too much of an issue. Crafter's Mark 1 has now been adjusted to require level 55, so you're only going to be able to craft things a couple of times during your leveling up process. Requires level 55 and it's got the item level 117, and then Crafter's Mark 2, which is what appears to be the biggest and best Crafter's Mark we'll have access to. It is equally now hidden behind a rep grind. You need to be revered with the avowed to be able to pick this item up, but it's going to give the item requirement level of 60 and an item level of 168. This is similar to what it was before for a level 60 item, and is going to be the strongest gear that we're going to be able to produce going into Shadowlands by the looks of things. But alchemy quickly, let's just go down the list now. Alchemy have received a new item, the Potion of Psychopomp Speed. We have a look here. This is your movement speed boost. Interestingly, it does say ineffective above level 60. Maybe they're just covering their ground early with this one, but it's your 70% movement speed pot. Going to be helpful, going to be a good seller. You're always going to find that your Mythic Plus guys are going to want this. Even your PvPers are likely to want this, just for that quick burst of speed that's always helpful. So Alchemy have got a new potion to play with. Just double check blacksmithing, crafter's marks, and then some legendary stuff, which we'll get to in a minute. Enchanting is all the same. This minor health it doesn't actually appear they've changed anything, maybe just a spell name behind the scenes. Engineering has not had much changes in terms of actual new stuff. It's just a slight change to some of the materials that are required. Instead of using the Ardenwood, which was sort of put into the game as your go to a vendor, buy a piece of wood and then craft something, it's now been changed to require Twilight Bark, which is a mining reagent, which will be nice for the miners to make a little bit more gold. Inscription. Interestingly, we've seen a few glyphs for druids come in. Now these glyphs are actually considered as BFA level glyphs, which is quite interesting, but it's just a travel form, flight form adjustment glyphs. These are quite cool. And then once again, some slight changes to the materials required to craft stuff. Jewel crafting, I believe it's nothing more than some of the legendary stuff. Same with the leatherworking and tailoring. Okay, right. So to the big juicy bit, the bit that's is going to throw things into contention a little bit with the professions. Now, if we look at blacksmithing, you'll see that Shadowghast arm guards, so your base legendary items, have had a new reagent added to them. This Orboreal, whatever you want to call it, this new shard has been added, And I have a sneaky feeling that this is going to be Blizzard's way to somewhat time gate and to create a scarcity of the legendary items going into Shadowlands. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's take a quick look in game. If we see here, currently I've got the tailoring open. It's the same for the main crafting professions. But say for tailoring, you make Grim Veiled gear. This is your base legendary gear. The main materials have stayed the same. You still need the shrouded cloth, still need the enchanted lightless silk, but now we've got this extra shard. Now, why have Blizzard added this? Well, the way that the system was in place previously on the beta is that you could just mass craft these base legendary items. As long as you had the main base materials, which are just regular crafting materials, you could churn out these base legendary items as fast as you were able to get hold of the materials. Now, there's one problem with that. It's going to create a weird situation where rank 1, rank 2 and rank 3 legendary items eventually just basically become trash. People are going to want to power through to get to those rank 4 legendary items, base legendary items should I say, and it's going to mean that they're just going to try and sell the previous ones for as much as they can get to fund making more. Now the problem with this is it really undermines the value of the legendary items from the word go. So I have a really strong suspicion. It is only a suspicion. We do not know where these are going to come from, so as of yet. We will probably find out soon. But I reckon you will probably be expected to get maybe 1, maybe 2 of these a week, so that it really limits the amount of legendaries that any one character can produce. Now, of course, there's nothing to stop you creating alts and leveling up professions on those and then being able to craft multiple. But if you think back to Legion, when we were crafting legendaries on the regular, they were limited to 1 legendary craft per character per week. And so I feel that this is going to be a similar system. Things to note that's not openly visible in game right now is that you only need 1 of these to create rank 1s, but you need 2 shards to create a rank 2, 3 shards to create a rank 3, and 5 shards to create a rank 4. So this is likely going to be some sort of time gating. I know we don't always like time gating with professions, but at least we're not shuffling and we're not looking for sort of random Blood of Sargeras or anything too weird. This is likely just going to be a reward for if you complete your Torghast or something like that, limiting you to be it may, who knows, it may even be a limited vendor item that you can just only buy once per week, who knows, but it's some sort of time gating. It's not amazing to see, but from a goal making point of view, it does mean that you then have the choice per week. Am I going to save these shards to use them to craft my own personal legendary, or am I going to craft this base legendary item to try and sell on the auction house? It's a decision you're going to need to make, and I think long term it's a good improvement. So there guys, that's all the big changes that we've had through on this patch. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.